Good morning. I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith here at the National Weather Service in Pocatello with another edition of your weather hazard briefing. This is for Sunday, March 26th. A lot of active weather to talk about here as we look over the next week or so. Good news for some of you, unless you're tired of winter, in which case we're going to have to wait a little while longer for spring to really kick in. Our active weekend does continue. We have a low pressure center that's sitting right over our forecast area, spinning right over us here early this morning. That is going to support one more day of some active snow shower activity today. Show you in a moment, we have some winter weather advisories that continue up across some northern portions of our forecast area, and that's generally where we're expecting the most snow. Although as we go through the day, watch the corridor between about Pocatello and Burley and points south into the southern highlands. I'll talk about why in a moment. We have some uncertainty in this area, but certainly some potential for some impactful snowfall here as well. Again, I'll talk about that here in just a sec. Overall, again, nothing crippling today. Just like we said yesterday, just be prepared for some slick roads if you are traveling across the region. Our brief break is still on tap. No changes there. We're expecting that to come in for Monday. Can't rule out a light snow shower, an isolated snow shower in a few of the mountain areas, but in general, it will be quiet. Even part of Tuesday now, not looking too bad, but there still is another storm on the horizon, and that system is expected to move into the region by Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday night, depending on your location. And that's going to continue throughout the day Wednesday, throughout the day Thursday, and possibly into Friday with rain and snow, depending on your elevation. We are seeing the potential for some moderate snow accumulations in the mountains increasing. We're not going to get too detailed into that today. We'll start looking at that in tomorrow's briefing, but potential for some decent accumulations up high, possibly even a foot at some of the mountain peaks here with this next system. Again, spread out over a 2 to 3 day period, so stay tuned for that. Weather risk outlook here for the next 5 days. Just a couple changes, not a lot of change for today. Again, generally some minor impacts with some slick spots on the roads. Do keep that in mind if you are traveling. Got a few spots here where we go to moderate impacts just because of a little bit heavier snowfall. Up here in the Lost River area, if you're right down at Valley Bottoms in the Mackey, the Chalice, the Arco areas, generally not expecting a lot of accumulation out of this today. There'll be a little bit, but a lot of this is as you head up toward pass level, head up toward the summits or into the backcountry, we're going to see some decent snow accumulations continuing. Again, Monday, maybe a few snow showers in a few mountain areas, but in general, a break. Not expecting impactful weather, maybe a little bit of patchy freezing fog during the morning for those of you heading out and commuting into work. Tuesday, we're starting to lose a little yellow here compared to what we showed you yesterday, and that's just looks like things are a little bit delayed. This next system may not move into many areas until Tuesday evening, so we have some of you lit up here for some afternoon or evening snow showers, question mark. Some generally light activity starting to work in from the west, maybe a little bit of rain mixed in with that here working into the Magic Valley. But Wednesday and Thursday still solid, socked in with quite a bit of snow, mixing with a little bit of low elevation rain out there. Generally, the Snake Plain, Eastern Magic Valley, into the valleys across the South Hills and South Central Highlands are where temperatures will be warm enough to support some mixing with rain, and certainly seeing more of that signal today than what we saw yesterday, just based on the temperature forecast. And I'll quickly review that here in a moment as well. So far, going with moderate impacts here as you get up into portions of the Central Mountains, particularly up in elevation, including the passes up here. Again, some areas are starting to see some signs of kind of a 6 to 12 inch snowfall as you get up high, again, over a couple day period. And we'll start digging into those numbers a little bit more in tomorrow's briefing. Low temperatures this morning as you head out, very similar to yesterday. Plenty of teens out there, but some 20s as well, particularly in the northern, normally warmer spots here from the Eastern Magic Valley over toward American Falls or so. So certainly temperatures very supportive of snow as we head into today. Only thing I'll point out here on the satellite loop, you might actually be able to see a little bit of that spin right in here, right where my pointer is, and I've labeled this as our low pressure center. It's right over the forecast area right now. It's going to slowly track off to the east as we go over the course of the day, with precipitation coming to an end tonight, setting us up for that break on Monday into now part of Tuesday. Watches, warnings, and advisories up north where we have a little bit better snowfall potential. Still seeing winter weather advisories in effect for places from Chalice and Monida Pass and Island Park southward. These are in effect right now until 10 p.m. this evening before we let those drop, and we'll see if we need to adjust that end time at all. And just north of that, winter weather advisories and even some winter storm warnings for those of you who may be traveling northward up into other portions of Idaho or Montana. Nothing to the south of that, just because overall accumulations are expected to be lighter. But again, I'm going to talk about this Pocatello to Burley area here in just a moment and what some of our potential is there. This map is showing additional snowfall today. This is on top of what has already fallen yesterday and last night. Of course, heaviest amounts up here to the north. And like I said, if you're in Stanley, down into Haley and Ketchum, up into Chalice, down into Arco, you can see a lot of this really light 1 to 2 inch snowfall in the forecast down to valley floors. You'll certainly see more going over Galena Summit, up at some of the other passes and summits. And then as you get up even higher and go into the backcountry, if you're a skier or you're doing any hunting, etc., areas in yellow exceeding 6 inches of additional snowfall today. But again, luckily, a lot of that is going to stay up pretty high and off of most of our highways. Pretty light in the rest of the region. You saw that winter weather advisory continues across a decent chunk here of Clark County and Fremont County. Our forecast is leaning a little low on additional snowfall, maybe 1 to 2, 1 to 3 inches. We don't have the confidence yet, though, to really drop our alerts up there. A lot of the high-res models still showing quite a bit of snow shower activity up here today, and they've certainly already gotten some here over the past 24 hours. So for now, maintaining that advisory up in this region as well. Finally, down here in the south, the higher elevations up into the backcountry here and some of the southern highlands certainly doing well with snowfall today, possibly 6 inches or more above pass level. And you can see a little bit of intrusion here into the interstate corridors of 2 inches or better here in our official forecast. Again, right between Pocatello and Burley. Let me jump in and show you a model. This is, for those of you who follow this is the NAM Nest, one of the high-res models that we use. And as I normally caution, this is a simulation. This is what the model thinks the radar could kind of sort of look like as we go over the course of the day. It's not necessarily going to be perfect. It's not always going to be right. And in fact, I chose this model because it is the most aggressive model. It's showing the most organized snowfall out of all of our model guidance. We have some of the others that are certainly much more showery and a bit lighter with the evolution today. So keep that in mind. But I want to show this as kind of what a high-end scenario could look like down here in the south. So if you have interests up here in the north, certainly pay attention to that area. But I'm going to talk about this area down here toward Burley and Pocatello as we step forward. So by 8 a.m., then 9 a.m., then 10 a.m., this particular model developing quite an organized band of snow here from near Burley eastward toward Pocatello, probably holding just to the west of Blackfoot. Again, this is the most aggressive model. This is the most organized snowfall out of any of our high-res models. It's kind of a high-end scenario of how this could develop, but if we do see something like this come together, we could envision that we'll see some moderate, impactful snowfall down along this corridor, including the interstates. By 11 a.m., noon, 1 p.m., you see that area of snowfall sinking slowly to the south and intruding into some of these southern highland valleys and portions of I-84 south of the split here near Burley. Certainly plenty of snow shower activity ongoing up here to the north across our advisory areas, and just about everyone across southeast Idaho today certainly has a shot at seeing at least a snow shower or two, even if they are on the light side. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 p.m. this afternoon, still trending southward with this potential organized snowfall here in the eastern Magic Valley and lower Snake Plain. And actually seeing some redevelopment on this particular model back out toward Arco, Craters of the Moon, Sun Valley. And as we go into the late afternoon, kind of the secondary area of organized snow sinking south through Shoshone. Here's 9 p.m., Shoshone and Burley, 10 p.m., 11 p.m. this evening. So point here being, again, this is a little bit of an outlier. This is the most aggressive model as far as showing organized snowfall here, but there's a chance. This is something we can't completely ignore. It's something we're going to be keeping a very close eye on here at the office in the event that this does develop, because it will have some travel impacts on the highways, even with the sun angle at this time of year for late March. We're going to have to watch it with the temperature profile. I show this graphic. This is the percent chance of reaching 4 inches or more. Not surprisingly, a lot of that is up in here in the north in our advisory areas, but down here in the south, we're lighting up a little bit too. And again, from near to just east of Burley, up through American Falls and very close to Pocatello, I'd say there's probably about a 20% chance, about a 1 in 5 chance in this corridor that we do get that more organized snowfall banding today. That'll be from about the mid to late morning hours, possibly into mid to late evening this evening is kind of your window for that activity here. So again, official forecast calling for maybe a 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches in this corridor, a little bit higher as you get into the southern highlands here. But if this higher end scenario were to play out, we could see 2 or 3 inches coming down here and a little more populated, impactful corridor. So do bear that in mind. As always, whenever it's snowing, whenever there's snow on the roads, the single biggest thing you can do to remove some of that heartache from highway incidents is just slow down. Use lots of extra caution, reduce your highway speeds, plan a little extra time so that you're not in a hurry. And that's really going to keep things a little bit safer for you out there as you travel. High temperatures today over on the left, getting up into the 20s for most of you, but some 30s here in the eastern Magic Valley over into the Raft River and Pocatello areas. We'll warm up just a little bit for Monday. We're going to trend a little warmer each day. And as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, remember Tuesday is looking now a little less impactful, a little slower start to our next system, but some 40s coming in here from the west into Shoshone, Jerome, Twin Falls, possibly as far east as Pocatello. And by Wednesday, with widespread precipitation out there, again, snow for most of you, but you can see why we're thinking now that rain is indeed going to mix in here from the eastern Magic Valley into some of the southern Highland valleys, into Pocatello, maybe Blackfoot as well. We'll have to see how these temperatures trend in our forecast here the next few days. That's really going to hold accumulations down in this corridor. We may also see some southerly downsloping off the mountains. All that means is we may be a little drier leaning and a little warmer leaning here as far as really accumulating anything if we do get snow in this corridor. Finally, I'll wrap up here with a look a little bit ahead into the 6 to 10 day period. So this is actually covering the first few days of April. And we're still kind of locked into this La Nina pattern that we've had for quite a while, and it's supporting above normal chances of precipitation. You can see that highlighted here across much of the Pacific Northwest in green. And then over here on the right, temperature outlook favoring below normal temperatures to continue. Again, cool and wet pattern. We've been locked into this for quite a while, and it is expected to continue here at least over the next week or two. So no big changes there. Again, we're kind of on hold, waiting for spring to move into the region. That's your summary. That's your outlook for today. Again, as always, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, support needs, please reach out to us here at the Weather Service. Everyone have a great Sunday.